Recording in progress. Thanks for calling into the Zoom. We will be starting in about 5 minutes.
One. Good afternoon. Appreciate everybody coming out this afternoon. It's great to see so many familiar faces and a lot of new ones as well, but extremely excited to first meet in person. I think it's been a long time coming. We've had a handful of these events virtually, and so really great to see some faces in the room and to have an opportunity to speak to you about this great project that is the City Center at Hanna Ave. Talk a little bit about DPR construction and the diversity outreach that is planned for the project. See here. All right, abandoned technology. Maybe. All right, bear with us here. There we go. All right, so run through of events for the day. Talk a little bit about our team's commitment to the project. I want to talk a little bit about DPR, our history here in Tampa, introduce our partners on the project, talk about just kind of our operations in the market. I'm going to talk about project interview. We've got our design partners here today, Fleischman Garcia Architects. Marcel's going to come up here, talk a little bit about overview. You'll hear from Brandon Fassini, project manager with DPR, talk about some of the upcoming opportunities and scopes of work that will be available. And we want to talk a little bit about the preparation for the bidding process, right? What does pre-qualification look like? What is the schedule of events that are kind of upcoming over the next, several months? And then finally, I want to address the question and answer. Several questions were submitted as part of the registration for the event, so we appreciate everybody that turned those in. We've developed responses for those immediately following today's presentation. Both the slide deck and the questions and answers will be distributed to everybody that registered both in person and virtually. And then ask that anybody kind of hold questions till the end of the presentation. The team will be available following to have some discussions one-on-one. We'll try to capture those and get those distributed through a second round of communications. I think just overall, the team that you kind of see to my right here that'll be introduced here in just a moment, extremely excited about the project. Phenomenal project for the city of Tampa. Excited to be a part of it, excited to be a part of the initiatives in East Tampa specifically, and to ensure that the impact starts today. So introducing the team, myself, Brian Yarbrough, project executive with DPR Construction, overseeing the Hanna Avenue project. This is a design build agreement with the city of Tampa. So on the design side, we've got Saul and Marcel both here from Fleischman Garcia Architects. We've got Linda, John, and Danny here from Voltaire Engineering. Jim from Masters Consulting Engineer, our structural engineer, and then Lauren Campo with Campo Engineering. I think rounding out our general construction team, got Ducon Construction, one of our GC partners on the project. Saw Donald and I think Tarnisha and Ernie Mike, at least Donald's here right now. Thomas and Emily from Ariel, providing kind of boots on the ground, Tampa-based D&I support for our team. We got LaKendria, kind of master of ceremonies, helping organize today's event with the Arenda Collective. She's running around here somewhere. And then OT Delancey, another one of our GC partners on the project, with strategist. Sitting in the back row there, thanks OT. And then I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the folks from the city that have been integral to the project thus far. So we've got Janelle running around in the back there. I saw her. There she is. Janelle McGregor, wave to Janelle. Then Adri Kalina here, kind of representing the user group for us. So fantastic to see everybody here today. So I want to talk a little bit about kind of DPR, our history in Tampa. I know that to many folks it may be an unfamiliar or a new name. And so the truth of the matter is we've kind of been in this Tampa market for nearly 70 years. Started as Matthews Construction, a few name changes along the way, right? But Matthews Construction, going back to the 60s until Hardin acquired Matthews in 2009. At the time, Matthews was kind of the longest privately held general construction firm in the city of Tampa. Then in 2013, DPR acquired Hardin. And so a lot of the members in our Tampa office, several members from Matthews, certainly Hardin Construction, but I think, really integral to this Tampa community for quite some time. And you'll see that here in this next slide with a lot of the clients that we're fortunate enough to be able to work with, right? So clients that we see as leaders in this community, integral to the Tampa Bay market. And then, but really want to draw your attention to kind of that lower right-hand corner. You see the Boys and Girls Club, as well as the ACE mentorship program. And so our team, and Brandon sits on the board with ACE, but have been, involved with the Boys and Girls Club on a national level, and then specifically here in Tampa for more than a decade. With that, I want to introduce Patrice to come up here and talk a little about our global social responsibility. She's our National Manager of Diversity and Inclusion.
Thank you so much, Brian. Hi, everyone. Thank you, first of all, for just your time and attention to this project. We actually created a lot of the dialogue that we've engaged in so far with folks, and we're really excited about additional conversations that we know that we're going to have around the supplier diversity and workforce development efforts that are related to this project. So please keep that dialogue coming. We welcome it. We definitely internalize all of your feedback, and we want to try and incorporate your suggestions into the project as much as we can. My name is Patrice Gilmore-Haley. I am the National Supplier Diversity Lead for DPR Construction. I am part of a group called the Global Social Responsibility Group. We are a corporate sector of DPR Construction, and it is our goal really to implement D&I and other programs within our construction projects. The Global Social Responsibility team has been working for years to make sure that we incorporate these elements into all of our construction projects. So I just want to make that very apparent to the audience. The other thing that I want to say is that the Global Social Responsibility team is really governed by 3 principles. It's respect the individual, change the world, and be integral and indispensable to the communities that we serve. That is our mantra, and that is our mission, and that shapes everything that we do within the Global Social Responsibility team. And I'm horrible at technology, so I will probably figure out a way to mess this up. So I apologize in advance. So within that Global Social Responsibility team, there are 4 pillars that we have established. The first being people. That is led by a lady who all she does is make sure that we are looking for the most diverse individuals in the AEC community to come and work at DPR. We do all of our HBCU recruiting through the people pillar. We also work with a lot of different professional organizations that represent minorities and women and make sure that they are included in the work that we do. And also that our work environment is safe, where people can be their authentic selves. So that is something that's very important to us. And I work in concert with that people pillar all the time. The partners pillar, which is the pillar that I lead, is all about supplier diversity and workforce. It's all about maximizing opportunities for diverse businesses to work with DPR on the trade level and in other aspects of the business and all the things that we purchase and spend. Then planet. That is really focused on making sure that our projects have the least impact on our environment as possible. We're working to become net zero in 2030. And Ryan Poole, who leads the planet pillar, is zeroed in and focused on that. Because we want to make sure in communities like East Tampa, we're not leaving a mess as it relates to the planet and the environment. And then finally, philanthropy. That's a group that leads all of our community initiatives. Brian has already mentioned our decade-long relationship with the Boys and Girls Club. We also have other programming that supports K-12 and other community initiatives that we believe help us to continue to spread that message of being integral and indispensable to the communities that we work in. So more information about the partners pillar specifically. I mentioned that the partners pillar and the people's pillar work in concert all the time. And so we came up with kind of a combined mission and vision for those 2 pillars because we feel like there's such a great overlap there. Initially, workforce. Our mission is to reflect the rich diversity of the communities that we work. And so our hiring practices and our recruiting practices are really built around adhering to this mission in the people pillar. And the planet pillar, it's really about finding and equipping a supply chain that exemplifies inclusive engagement, and also make sure that we're collaborating and creating opportunities for commerce with diverse businesses. And then finally, it's all about us creating an environment collectively and on our projects where all of our trade partners, all of our vendors, and all of our employees can work together and thrive and grow alongside one another. And so that is the vision that kind of overlaps both of our pillars, but it really is what shapes all of the activities that we undergo in the partners pillar specifically. So I mentioned that we've been working on putting this group together for many years. This is just a snapshot of some of the supplier diversity leaders that we have dispatched across the country. I am a resource nationally, and so I make sure that anybody across the country who's working as a supplier diversity manager with us has all of the resources that they need to be successful. In the Southeast, that person is Lauren Hickman, who you're going to hear from in a little bit. But I am really here to support Lauren. When she comes to me and says, we have this project in Tampa and it has these needs as it relates to supplier diversity, it's really my job to connect with her and the project team and make sure that they have everything that they need to make sure that any businesses that want to work with us on this project have the opportunity to do so. So I won't continue to talk. I'll turn it over to Lauren because she is the person who you are going to be seeing on a day-to-day basis as it relates to supplier diversity on this project. But certainly, again, if there are any needs that you have that we cannot help you with, or you feel like you're not getting the right answers, please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly and also to reach out to Lauren and the project team.
All right, good afternoon. Let's do it again one more time. Good afternoon. Okay, it is 3:21 in the afternoon. So I understand it is at the end of the day. And one thing about me is that I love participation. So I'm going to be asking a lot of questions within this to make sure that everybody understands, know what we're doing within our plan. So first things first, my name is Lauren Hickman again. I'm the Regional Supplier Diversity Manager for DPR. I have the honor of working alongside Thomas here and making sure that we're building a great community engagement plan for Tampa, especially for the Hanna Ave project. Now, what do those three areas look like? High level, first, outreach, which we're doing today. And that is not just, talking to you here in this space. We also have volunteerism that we do within the community as well. We talked about Boys and Girls Club. We'd love to know about other local organizations too within Hanna Ave specific area. Workforce development, which I'll touch on shortly. And then of course, we touch on many times diverse business participation. I'm not, okay, perfect. Technology and I are working, great. So specific to this project, I wanna make sure that everyone knows. So these goals are specific to the analysis based on the City of Tampa's analysis on businesses within Tampa Bay. Excuse me, I'm getting a little tongue-tied here. So what does that look like? So we have specific goals, 20% Black business enterprises and 15% SLBE enterprises. So that's small local business enterprises. So let's just throw it out there and put some numbers out there for everyone. We know round numbers, this project is worth about $100 million. That's 20 million that we're focused on targeting with Black businesses and 15 million with small local business enterprises. So what did I just say? Okay, and how many for SLBE? All right, okay, we're in agreement here. And of course, we're going to be following the City of Tampa's new ordinance around apprenticeship. So these are our project-specific goals that have been given with the City of Tampa. Now, let's talk about who are we going to fulfill those percentages when it comes to businesses. So, City of Tampa first. Who are we going to first? Tampa businesses. Again, City of Tampa businesses. I want to make sure that you know this is our goal first and foremost. We want to work with especially the individuals within this room. We are not trying to go outside of Tampa. However, I do want to be honest and transparent. If there is a capacity issue, if we have talked to every business that we can for a certain trade, we may have to go outside. What does that look like? And we wanted to make sure and communicate that. If it's outside of Tampa, we have to provide all of the documentation. We have to show that we have worked, we have called, we have checked capacity. So it's not just a one email and done. No, we're making sure that we're focused on City of Tampa first. If it's within Florida, we've been given the guidance that they must be state of Florida certified. If you're outside of the state, which, that would be a very far stretch, but if that happens, they have to be a disadvantaged business enterprise. But again, what is our focus here? Okay, little engagement. Okay, you guys are waking me a little bit here. But then as well with our project goals, workforce development, we're going to be building training programs specifically around our project and documenting and showcasing all those hiring outcomes. We are hiring local. We want to hire within the Hanna Ave community. And so we've already started talking with our tier 1 and tier 2 trade partners that we have, just a few, but we have asked them, hey, do you have job openings? So I know to date, I can confidently say we have about 20 openings already on the project. We have not been able to talk to everybody yet. So those will be coming, job descriptions, you'll get all that information. You'll probably get overly communicated, especially for myself and the project team. But we want to make sure that you know what we want to do for the community, especially in the East Tampa area. So that is my spiel for today. So just quick reminders, 20% equals what? Okay, 15% equals what? And who are we going to first business-wise? All right, okay, now I'm passing it. Thank you so much, guys, and I'm passing it back to Brian.
So before I introduce Marcel to come up here and talk about the project, I want to just take a minute to explain the contracting process and the arrangement for this project, because I think one of the things that we heard, hey, construction is started out on the site, and all the opportunities for being involved with this project are gone. And so that would be true if this were a traditional kind of hard bid proposal to, in this case, the city, where we turned in, we kind of had our numbers and had those trade partners lined up. This design build arrangement, we are still in the process of completing design. There's going to be incremental design packages that Brandon will come up to and speak to in a minute. And with each of those packages, there's going to be opportunities for tier 1, tier 2 trade partner participation, vendor participation. And so you'll see that over the next several months, there's going to be several bidding exercises that occur as those documents are completed. But before we get to those opportunities, I'd like to invite Marcel up here from Fleischman Garcia Architects to talk about the project itself.
Thank you, Brian. Well, first, I want to thank everybody for coming today. Those outreach events are very important, including for us at Fleischman Garcia. And I'm actually on vacation this week, but wanted to be here in person to talk about the design because want to make sure that we understand a little bit the concepts of the project so that we help make it successful. So, the city has, the city's goal right now is to move all these different departments that kind of scattered throughout the city into one central location. The idea is to have a one-stop shop for the public, really enhance that connection to the public. So some of those called the Public-Centric Services, those are groups that have daily interaction with the public. You have the Development and Growth Group, which includes the construction permitting, housing, administration, historic preservation, and architectural review, real estate, development coordination, but also planning and water permitting. There's also neighborhood and community affairs, which include arts and cultural affairs, community partnerships, community engagement partnerships. They keep changing the names, so it's hard to remember. Equal business opportunity, customer experience, code enforcement. There's also a new group, which is very important to the mayor, which is the workforce development. The idea of training the public to be more competitive on market force. So this will be in this building. With culinary training, incubator kitchen, so that's, if you have small business or individuals who want to start a small business in cooking, they can use actually the kitchen there. Technology and arts classroom. It's about training in the new technology, but not just training them, but also training them to be more creative, so they can be more competitive, but also have access to higher wage jobs. There's a couple other services which are not, they don't have daily interaction with the public, but they're very integral to the functions of the city. Those groups are technology innovation, purchasing and wellness center, and human resources. Those will be housed in the main building. And also facility management, which will be in the back in a separate building, that's smaller. And central fleets also, just to service the smaller cars of the city. So on this project, during the design phase, we had way over 100 engagements for workshops and others with the different departments moving here, but also the departments that are integral to the function of this building, and also, most importantly, the community as well. So throughout all those engagements, we heard many different things. So we wanted to make sure that we categorize them into what we call the Ganning Principles. And those are a set of goals, that helped us measure the success of a project. The first one is community connectedness. This is very important also for the mayor, and probably the most important for this project. So I think that's something I want everybody to remember. The idea is that we want to enhance the community interaction with the different departments. We want to enhance the community experience as they meet with the different departments. The second principle is flexibility and collaboration. We want to make sure that all the different departments come together, able to collaborate together, but also collaborate with the public more efficiently. Well-being and sustainability. So this is a LEED Silver project. So all 3 buildings will be LEED Silver. But beyond that, we want to make sure that it's about the well-being of the city staff and the well-being of the public as well. Next one is mobility. So, Tampa is car-centric community, but as we move forward in the future, we want to address public transportation. Some people do not own cars and they need to have access to the services. We also have micromobility, which is getting more popular now. And the last one is incubator, just touching base on the workforce developments and making sure that we provide the proper tools for the workforce program in here. And those guiding principles actually align directly with the mayor strategic goals on the bottom here. So when we started this design and thinking about community connectedness, we were trying to think, how can we create this bridge between the public and the city staff and the departments? And, we felt when we went through East Tampa, we felt that there's a beautiful story to tell in East Tampa, and we want to showcase this story, but there was no sense of place where people could gather and create this. So we decided to design this project first by the open space, what we call Hanna Square. This is a space that will be open to the public, where you can have different social activities, artistic activities. And along with that, we mix with the department, starts from the exterior and can continue and find its way all the way through the heart of the building with, different community rooms, cafe, lounge spaces for the community, and different meeting rooms for the community as well. So, and the inspiration came from the Agora in ancient Greece, which was really the city center of civic, social, and artistic life, and really the center of this very active life. So in terms of the layout of the building, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the way we organize the building is first the main entry faces Hanna Square and Hanna Avenue. Facing Hanna Square, you have community rooms for different events. You have a cafe that will be open to Hanna Avenue, Hanna Square, but also in the lobby as well. And we'll see that in a little bit. And then the workforce training developments. And we also have video and sound recording rooms that will be accessible to the public as well. And as we go up to level 2, you have the permitting groups and purchasing. And at level 3, those are a little bit less public-centric spaces. But as you move through the building, through the main stair and up, you find your way through the different collaboration rooms to meet with the different departments. So here's a view of the main building, the Hanna City Center. As you can see, the corner here has a lot more glass, more transparency. So they invite people to come in from Hanna Avenue, but from Hanna Square as well. We have glass here in the front that kind of leads you into the corner here, to the main entry. This corner here is where the cafe will be. So there's an exterior patio here, and that addresses Hanna Square. And Hanna Square is defined by the main building and the parking garage. So we do have a parking garage. The first level of parking garage will be all visitor. And then the second level and up will be for the city staff and also the city-owned vehicles. You can see here. So you have parking garage, the main building, and then the railway track here, which we hope one day, long distance, but it might be used for public transportation. So we want to make sure we address that now so we're ahead for the future. So the main thing was to try to bring some important aspect of the culture of this area. And one thing that really struck us is, Rogers Park, which has a beautiful story. And we also love the shape of it. So we actually shaped the entry mast that you see here based on the shape of Rogers Park. So every time you enter the building, you're faced with the history. And we clad it with terracotta to bring in some history of the first buildings in Tampa. Now, Hanna Square, we wanted to create this very active life, that active space throughout the year, not just when you have people just coming to meet with the departments of the city. The idea was people will come here even if they don't meet with the different departments of the city. And so we have Hanna Square on both sides. We have rain gardens, so it helps to filter some of the stormwater runoff. So it speaks about the sustainability aspect of the project. We have a trellis here with solar panels that provide shade, but at the same time, again, speaks about sustainability. And the main building will actually be covered with solar panels as well as the two other buildings. The trellis here, which you only see in the rendering, there's a couple of parking spaces here in front of it where you can have food trucks for different events. There's a paved area here where you can set up tents for different events, arts festival, food festival, or food markets. There's a multi-purpose lawn here, so you can have different events, yoga on the lawn, concerts on the lawn. You can just come here and hang out. And from there, you have a series of step terraces that lead into the main building. And those actually have some trees for shading and some benches along the edge, so people can come grab a cup of coffee, hang out here, and enjoy what the events that are happening here. This is a view from the parking garage. So as you come out of the parking garage and you might be going to the building, it might be just to pick up your building permit, for example. But as you go through the rain garden, you're experiencing sustainability. As you're walking through the multi-purpose lawn, you might be experiencing and working through an event, for example, yoga on the lawn. And so you might want to come back and just for that event. So when you enter the main lobby of the city center, you'll be greeted with a 2-story green living wall. So again, speaks about sustainability. The idea here is that the cafe faces the lobby as well, so that you can grab a cup of coffee and then be able to go to the lounge spaces and wait. And you might want to work there while you wait your turn to meet with one of the departments. Along the way here on the main steps, you see the series of glass cubes that come out, and you'll be able to see and experience the city staff working and collaborating for you, for the public. So as you go up the main stairs here, you have another lounge space up here, inviting, so it's not anymore the DMV style waiting rooms. Instead, we want to create something that's a lot more inviting, as you can see on the second image here. We also have the community rooms here that are facing Hanna Square. The city has a lot of programs to interact with the public and to engage the public, to work with the city too. So the idea here is that there might be one of those events, your outreach events in the community room, and you might be going to Hanna Square just to hang out, right? But then you notice that there's an event here that speaks to you. You have a series of collaboration room, technology and arts training, workforce, video and sound booth recording, and then a series of collaboration and meeting room spaces. So it's a very important project for the community. And just to locate here, Hanna Square is located here. This is Hanna Avenue, the CSX railroad track, and then the main building here. The parking garage is set back, from Hanna Avenue. Everybody hates the local parking garages, but also everybody complains if there's not enough parking. So we had to have it, but we would set it back from Hanna Avenue away, but we're also cladding it with a perforated screen so that you don't see your parking garage every time you go to Hanna Square. And in the back, we have the building facility and central fleets. And then the back of house, connection and utilities in the back. Brandon will be.
Yeah. Thank you, Marcel.
Thank you, everybody.
Hi. Good afternoon. Brandon Fassini with DPR Construction. So I'm the project manager on the project and will be the boots on the ground day to day through the duration of the project. So I'll be working with many of you on procurement, and I just want to touch base on a few procurement items and really bidding and buyout and the timeline for that. But as Marcel just pointed out, just to be clear, we have a beautiful main building and parking structure, but there's also a central fleet building that's city vehicles, sedans, light city vehicles, and then facilities building, which is administrative and warehouse space. The central fleet building also houses administrative space as well. So really, to think about this project as one singular building is not sort of the wrong perspective, and the right perspective is this is a series of buildings that will be going up, and there'll be a series of procurement opportunities to maximize involvement and diverse spend on the project. As you can see up here, the number of opportunities and trade partners is really across the board right now. Concrete, all the way down to green walls, solar, site work, dewatering, everything's on the board and up for bidding. As Lauren mentioned earlier, what does that look like and what does that equate to? From just a diverse spend and goals perspective, that's $20 million target for Black business enterprises. And that's another $15 million target value for small and local business enterprises. So we encourage and look forward to working with the community to meet and exceed those goals. Milestones, this really lays out the design, the bidding of that particular design, the pre-qual and tier 2 partnering, and then the buyout and award and the construction start dates. So I think the date to highlight when I go through these slides here is the bidding. The site main building core and shell is just that, the core and shell of the building. So that's concrete and steel structure and MEP-FP. But that does not include the interiors of that main building that Marcel just showed. The parking garage is bidding in February this month. It's currently open, and there's opportunities to submit bids on that as well. And that includes obviously the parking garage, but also any ancillary scope that goes along with that parking garage. And then you'll notice the pre-qualification and the tier 2 partnering, even after bidding, we're working with our tier 1 trade partners to make sure that tier 2 opportunities are available. So if you're an electrician, there's a particular scope within your scope that has an opportunity to bid out to a tier 2 partner that may be a SLBE or BBE partner. We're looking for that, and that's encouraged and part of the collaboration process with tier 1s.
So you move directly to tier 2 partner. What's the deal with the tier 1 partner? With all of the particular scopes that that are out there, why did we move directly to tier 2? What's the availability of the tier 1 partners? And if you mentioned it, just explain it so I can understand it better.
No, I think what we're trying to highlight here, Jonathan, is there's tier 1 opportunities across really all aspects of the job in those trades that were shown on the previous slide. I think what we're wanting to show here is that early engagement at a pre-bid level, bringing tier 2 partners in to partner at that stage, but then also kind of from award forward, when we receive proposals at a tier 1, they haven't locked in all their sub-tiers and their vendors, so there continues to be that opportunity. We want to make sure we bring those folks together, but I think there's diverse opportunities at tier 1 and tier 2 levels. We're just trying to highlight here that kind of tier 2 continues, a little bit further post-award.
Any questions?
Go ahead. Yeah, we could save. Sure, absolutely. So as you can see here, you see the central fleet building that we just showed up on the screen earlier on that bird's eye view. That bidding starts in March. So that's tier 1 and tier 2. The complete scope of that building has not gone out for bid and is available, along with the main building interiors, which is April, and the facilities building, which is May. So pre-qualification, we've had some questions around pre-qual and what that means, and we just want to talk about that a little bit. So the pre-qualification process for DPR really does a number of things, but mainly it's to understand the capacity of the vendor that's onboarding. So that means financially, that means safety records, understanding the relevant experience and projects that they have going right now. And it's really meant to understand the capacity and where you can best fit into this particular project. I just want to note that this is not meant to be an obstacle. It's definitely part of our process, but it doesn't preclude anybody from bidding. We want to hear who you are, what your scope is, and receive proposals for the project. And then this is something that we can work towards on the back end.
Yeah, I just add to Brandon's comment that we realize that pre-qualification sometimes shows up as a barrier. And so that's one of the reasons why, as Brandon said, we're really interested in getting to know you first. We'll work with you through the pre-qualification process once we get to that point and understanding if in fact you're the right vendor for us. But we don't want it to be a barrier. And we know that there's a lot of times that small businesses will start our pre-qualification process and they immediately turn away and say, this is too much. We don't want you to worry about that. We want you to tell us what you're interested in working on first, and we will work with you through the qualification process. In fact, you'll see a little bit later that some of our upcoming events are actually pre-qualification workshops where we have our pre-qual coordinators that are going to be ready to work and walk you through the pre-qual page by page so that you don't get discouraged and you don't stop finishing the pre-qualification process. So it was very important for us to make sure that we reiterate the fact that this is a pre-qualification process and not a disqualification process. And we do not want you all to walk away from this meeting today thinking that pre-qualification is going to be a barrier for you. All right. We know it's cumbersome. We know there's a lot of things that we ask. We know there's a lot of things that other companies ask you a million times that you feel like you've repeated over and over again. Please don't let our pre-qualification process be the thing that stops you from an opportunity to work on this. The more you communicate with us, the more we're able to walk you along through the pre-qualification, the better the chances are to make sure that you walk away with an opportunity on this job. So I'm adding to this comment because it's that important that I don't want you all to view pre-qualification as a barrier, okay?
We have a question there, right? So
we're gonna try to save the questions for later so we can get through all the content of this presentation and also be respectful of people that are on the call virtually, but we will take your questions after.
How much time do we have allocated for questions?
We are here until 4:30 and then we are here to hang out and answer any questions. Yeah, we're here to hang out and answer any questions even after that.
So just functionally for pre-qual, we have a local resource, Chris Montal, available. And then also we have an email beyond Chris's that can get you in touch with the project. And I'm here to ask or answer questions, and I have my card, and I'd love to meet each and every one of you and sort of explain to you that process. But I do really appreciate your time today. Lauren, I'm going to come up and talk about the next 30 to 60 days and moving forward.
All right, so rounding out our presentation for today, we have some great events planned, and we'll be communicating. We're building actually a project site for the Hanna Ave project. But so first off, we're going to have a community day. We want to get out in the community, meet you more, get to know us better as well. Pre-qual, which we talked about just a few seconds ago. So we'll have pre-qual workshops at our office to make sure that you know how to get through our pre-qual process. We'll have our team on site. So any questions that you have, to make sure that you know how to get through our pre-qual process. Another trade partner outreach, you've seen the opportunities laid out and mapped out, but we're going to have more sessions that are more pointed of talking specifically about which trade packages are coming out. And then more virtual trade partner outreaches and work. We're going to also have, should be noted, 2 workforce development components as well. And so I'm passing it back to Brian. Come on.
So a little bit of housekeeping here as we wrap things up. Saw a few folks taking some photos of the presentation today. Just to reiterate, upon conclusion of the presentation, both the slide deck and the questions and answers to go along with those that were submitted virtually ahead of time will be distributed to everyone that registered for the event, both to participate here in person and virtually. So you'll receive the slide deck, and again, questions that were submitted and responses to those following the presentation today. The email address here behind me, this hannaavproject@dpr.com, is a general email address that comes to the project's leadership team. So questions, concerns, comments, that is an available means to contact the project team. In the process of developing a project-specific website that will contain the information that you saw here today, talk about upcoming activities, both as they relate to community engagement, diverse spend, but also just upcoming construction activities, right? We want to share those project milestones as those are achieved, talk about some of the upcoming activities, and just create that transparent communication. And so this email will kind of help us bridge the gap until that is up and running. Again, a giant thank you to our extended project team and our partners that are here with us today. Very excited to be a part of this project, tremendous project for the city of Tampa, to be a part of the initiatives that are being led in East Tampa. And I think to help ensure and to just make that commitment and that promise to everybody in this room that's online and beyond, committed to making sure that this project has an impact in the community today. Not when the doors open and the keys are handed over, but that impact begins today. And so again, appreciate your time. Questions will go out, and then the team is available and planning to stick around. Please enjoy the food and refreshments in the back, and we're available for questions. We're not planning to go anywhere. Yeah, we're going to stick around. I'm going to close the online session just because of difficulty with those folks, and then we're going to capture kind of questions that are asked as we have some just casual conversations with the folks that are here, and we'll distribute those through a second round of communications. Yes, sir. Yeah, we're wrapping up. So I'm going to close the online portion, and we're all sticking around and available to talk with you. Absolutely.
Mike Reed, I own a company called Reed Building Plumbing Roof, and been finished about 40 years in Tampa. We live in East Tampa. But it's a menu to bring the project to my neighborhood. I got a couple of questions I want to ask in reference to. I got about 3 questions I want to ask. One, first.
Recording stopped.